Hallo ihr Lieben, hello everyone. It's so great to be connected with you again. As you can see, I'm in the jungle. I'm taking you to this lush nature to celebrate today Valentine's Day. The day of love, the day of lovers, which is celebrated all over the world except in Brazil. So in Brazil, we celebrate the Dia dos Namorados in, I think it's June, I'm not even sure. But anyway, since most of you are not probably in Brazil, I really wanted to connect with you today on this special day and especially give a big shout out to those of you who are in a long distance relationship and who had experienced the last year in a long distance relationship with all the difficulties. So I can hear you, I can feel you. I think this has been by far one of the most challenging years and aspects of my long distance relationship. And as we all know, it's already difficult enough to juggle a relationship between two cities, two countries, sometimes even two continents. And then with all the restrictions we faced last year, it was really a tough one. And so in this Facebook Live, first of all, I want to share a little bit from my perspective what I figured out for myself, what I figured out for this relationship, and what has helped me and what has helped us. And if you are and maybe you find this helpful, and maybe you can bring some of the tips also to your long distance relationship. So I think the thing that made me most struggle last year when everything started with the restrictions was this uncertainty when we could see each other. This longing for each other, the time of being not together, it's tough. But at least if you know that there's a certain date when you can see each other again, maybe you can book already your flight, it's a total different story. It's predictable, and you can hang in and say, okay, well, it's 3 weeks, it's 2 weeks, it's 1 week, and then you're there. But with COVID hitting and all the restrictions, that was the toughest one for me. Not being able to know when we're going to see each other again, and constantly being in this hope and then in being disappointed because it took longer than we expected until we could see each other again. And so for us, between Germany and Brazil, we were quite lucky because Brazil started to open their borders quite early, so I could visit my boyfriend. And in October, so after 7 weeks of long distance relationship and being apart from each other, he could come to Germany. So I know that we are among the lucky ones who managed to see each other. And I know there might be some of you who still haven't been able to see your loved one, and I'm really with you. So today, on Valentine's Day, I just want to give you 4 little tips that made a huge difference for me, and maybe you can pick 1 or 2 for yourself, and it helps you. So the first one that was really important for me and very helpful was really to consciously be aware that I cannot focus on the things I can't have right now, but instead I need to focus on the things that I can have or that I can do. And this was really a shift in my mindset, in a sense that, well, it wasn't possible to have the moments together, to travel together, and even to experience the relationship together, to grow together. But what I realized was that I could do a lot of growth work for myself in this moment, independently from my partner, and growth work when it comes to relationships. So for me, I figured that I really felt I had a deficit in a good communication when it comes to relationship. I mean, I'm a super communicator, and with girlfriends and with family, I can talk about everything. But when it comes to relationship and especially difficult topics, it was very challenging for me, and I didn't know how to address it. And very often I addressed it just out of frustration and in the wrong way. So I really worked on my communication skills within the relationship, and this was so good to see that I could do something to grow the relationship even if we couldn't be together. And so this is really one thing that I want to invite you to. Maybe there are things that you can do, especially since you are now on your own, especially that you are now far away for a time of your loved one, of your significant other and your partner. What are the things that you can do for yourself that will make you happier and more fulfilled in the relationship, independently if the other one is present or not, if you are still separated because of travel restrictions of COVID or not. So, hi, I can see someone joining. So this is the first thing that really helped me in this difficult time of navigating a long-distance relationship in times of COVID. And the second one, I realized that was really an important thing for me to acknowledge, that when we finally managed to see each other, so after 7 months of being apart, being separated, we both came with so much expectations, and when we finally met, it was really challenging because we grow kind of apart in this time, and we had to reconnect on a certain level again. So with all this expectation of, oh, now it must be spectacular from minute one on, that was a really tough one. And I still feel this every time that we spend time apart from each other for a longer period. We need this reconnection time. We need to give ourselves a couple of, sometimes it's one day, sometimes it's a couple of days, to really reconnect, and not to expect that we take off where we left when we met the last time. Because when you separate after being together for 3, 4, 5 weeks or longer, you're really at the most wonderful point because you spend all this time together. And you leave with this memory, and then when you meet again after a couple of weeks or months of separation, you expect it to be exactly like this, and this can cause some frustration. So really my tip is to give it some time, especially the first 1, 2, 3 days. Don't expect everything to be in perfect order. Give yourself also the time to slowly reconnect to this person again, because it's wonderful that we're able now to see each other with all this technical tools, with the WhatsApp call or the Zoom calls, whatever, but it's not the energy of a person, it's not the presence of a person. So give yourself this time to rediscover the other person again. And that was the second thing that really helped me in this time of navigating this long distance relationship during COVID restriction, and still navigating it. And this will continue because it doesn't seem like restrictions are lifted anytime soon, and it's just continuing the same way. So the third point, and that's a really nice one, that's something we discovered together. So it's so important to dwell in positive memories together, because our default mechanism is to go to the problems, to the things that don't work, to the things you don't have right now. So it's so important to consciously bring yourself back to the memories of the things that you experienced together, the good times, really to dwell in this feeling together, and not just for a second, but really to relive those moments again. And we discovered a really nice game for doing so. It's like coming up with those top 10 lists, like what were our top 10 restaurants, what were our top 10 trips, our top 10 hotels, our top 10 moments, and really go back. And when you do this, you go back in your mind, and every time you have this flashback to one of those memories, it brings you so much good energy. So this is the third tip I want to share with you. And the fourth tip, a really important one that I also had to learn, was sometimes you need to argue, sometimes you will have a discussions, but never do this when you're in negative emotions. So never do this when you're in this moment of anger, frustration, or fear, or whatever it is that is coming up negatively. So really, bring yourself back to the good times. Bring yourself back to the memories of the good times, the point you appreciate of the other. And then when you feel really good, then start the discussion, then start the conversation. And looking at it from the neuroscience perspective, this makes so much sense, because our brain, when we are in this negative emotions, we only know like fight or flight. It's like aggressing the other or pulling back. But when we're in a state of positive emotions, when we're grateful for the moments that we had together, we become creative, we become open, we become curious, and we have so much better solutions. So this is the fourth point that I want to share with you. When there is a need for a discussion or conversation that is more difficult, do it from an emotion of gratefulness, of positive anticipation, of respect, of love, of all the positive emotions that are there in the relationship, that are always there, no matter if you argue or not. So, 4 tips how I survived this long distance relationship during COVID, how I'm still surviving it because the restrictions are not over yet. First, focus on what you can do for the relationship instead what you can't right now. Second, don't expect things to take off where you left them from when you haven't seen each other for many weeks or months. It needs some time to reconnect. Sometimes it's a day, sometimes it's even a week, but give yourself the time. The third one is dwell in positive memories together. So make your top 10 list of your top 10 moments where you laughed, where you almost peed in your pants, your top 10 moments, or your top 10 hotels that you went together, your top 10 restaurants, whatever it is, the top 10 movies that you watched together. Dwell in these times, live them together, relive them over and over again. This is so important. And the fourth one, never argue when you're in a state of negative emotions. First, bring yourself back to the state of gratitude, of love, of respect, and then initiate the conversation. So I hope these 4 tips are helpful for you, and while they make it a little bit easier, I can help you in some way with this difficult situation of navigating a long-distance relationship in this very special time of restrictions and uncertainty and obstacles. Hang in there. It's absolutely worth it. And I'm thinking of you, I'm there for you, and I'm wishing everyone now a wonderful Valentine's Day. And I'm looking forward to reconnect with you very soon. And I'm sending much, much love to everyone who's in a relationship, no matter if it's long distance or not. And to everyone who's a wonderful singer. So love to everyone. Bye.